hello there. You had a problem. What was it? When you had a bath, you couldn't walk on the water. You got wet. Well, that's because we can't walk on water. Jesus did, and Peter wanted to as well. Yes, there is an account in the Bible of Jesus walking on water and Peter asking to walk on water too. But that's not quite what we should be aiming for. You ask Jesus, okay, what happened in that account in the Gospel is that Jesus had wanted some time out to pray, and he'd healed the crowd when a crowd gathered because he took pity on them and felt sorry for them and saw their need. And then it was late, and the disciples said he should send them away. Remember the feeding of the 5,000? Of course you do, yeah. Then right after that, he sent the disciples away in the boat, and then he sent the crowds away, and then Jesus had some time to go off and pray by himself. Well, he wanted some time to pray by himself and to reflect and work out where he was at and what was going on. After all, he was dealing with the fact that his dear friend and cousin, John the Baptist, had been killed. Then, about 3 to 6 in the morning, somewhere between there, 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., while the disciples were in the boat, the waves had gotten rocky because the wind had turned around and was blowing the waves against the boat. Were they frightened? No, they weren't frightened. There was a time when they were in the boat with Jesus and the storm became really bad and they were frightened. And Jesus told them off for having only a little bit of faith. And he calmed the storm. The boat went back to being on calm water. And the disciples were like, whoa, who is this guy? It was Jesus. Then, this time round, they're not too worried. I mean, they're up and obviously they're watching what the boat's doing. I mean, the funny thing is, of course, Jesus sent them out into the middle of the sea in the boat. And of course, I wonder what they thought. Because obviously Jesus had to get to them. They didn't have mobile phones, so they couldn't just give him a call and check where they wanted them to pick him up. And at this time of the morning, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., Jesus appeared walking on the water to them. Was that a bit frightening? Yes, that was a bit frightening for the disciples. They thought it was a ghost. They thought perhaps King Herod had finally got him and killed him, while they had been out on the boat waiting for him. But he said, "Fear not. It's me." But the way he said it told them that he was actually identifying as God. Because he actually said, "I am," which is a divine name for God. And the other disciples, we don't hear about them panicking or getting angry or questioning anything. But we do hear Peter challenge Jesus. Like Satan did, yeah. And he says, if you're really who you say you are, tell me to walk on the water to you. No, it's never very smart to challenge God. We always end up losing. And you know what happened? Peter did get out of the boat. And then? You don't know. he stepped out on the water, realized what he was doing, saw the wind, and started to sink. So Jesus was standing right beside them by that stage, and Peter cried out, "Lord, save me!" Which is the same thing the disciples had done when they were in the boat of the storm early on, when Jesus calmed the storm. Well, this time it's only Peter that's crying out to be saved. And Jesus saves him, they hop back into the boat, and the wind stops. And then all the disciples worship Jesus. No, we should not test Jesus and tell him to let us walk on water if he really is God. If we do test Jesus and try to play games with God like that, we, like Peter, will end up sinking and getting wet. Yes, it was a bit cheeky of Jesus. You would have just pushed him in. No, Peter pushed himself in. And that's when we realise the really divine nature of Jesus. After all, you and I can't walk on water. Peter couldn't walk on water. But Jesus, being Lord and having dominion of power and authority over all the elements in nature, could. And that's why the disciples worshipped him. And that's why you couldn't walk on the water in your bathtub.